Okay, guys, so Dublin Marathon was, it was incredible to place third at, your home marathon with everything that's been going on. The fact that I put myself out there on YouTube, share the journey, the training. I think it adds to the day when you can share that with people that really wanted it to go well for you. So that's my second fastest marathon ever, 2:11:51. I've ran 2:11:52 and 2:12:01 and 2:09:48. So I think to get things back in that really good direction was super important because I was probably in danger of becoming the talker and less of the go out there and get it done. Like, we hear you, we love that you want to try to make an Olympics, we love that you're out there working hard, but let's see if you can start capitalizing on that and get it done. That's kind of life. Figure out what it is that's holding you back from achieving those things that you want to achieve. Go put in the work, get it done. Everybody can do it. This is not just me. This was never just about me. You can achieve all these things that you want to, so long as you don't give up and you just figure out ways to get it done. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the things that don't work and from the things that do, and do more of that. So, play-by-play of the race didn't feel great, which that sucks on marathon day. I have this expectation that the gun's going to go and I'm going to filter into, the pack, and for 15 miles at least, I'm just not going to feel much. And that was definitely not the case. I had to really lean into the race, you could say, and it didn't get to just like coast. I had to push almost just to keep the pace and effort at where it needed to be for a big result. So today's not the day to be analyzing why that was the case or whatever. Today I'm going through play by play, just the race. But that was the first part. I just didn't feel great. Where that kind of aids performance, you could say, is that you forget about when is it going to start getting tougher or more difficult, or will this good feeling leave, and you just start from very early into the race focusing on 1 mile at a time. Let's get through this, and then you're not waiting for the moment that it stops feeling as good as it has been if you're in that lovely position. So the start of the course, there's quite a bit of climbing. Dublin's it's a hilly marathon. From about mile 3, I was pretty much by myself. I tried to go with the lead group, but I honestly just didn't feel, I couldn't. It wasn't that I didn't feel good enough. I didn't have the legs. I just couldn't. My legs felt heavy. They felt tired. And so when they started picking the pace up some of those climbs in the Phoenix Park, and there was nothing I could do. I just had to start getting into my own rhythm, and it means from mile 3, 4, you're running to the finish line by yourself unless you pass people, and maybe they start working with you for a bit. So early doors, I had to get into this nice rhythm. It was really cold, so I like cold because it means all that heat stuff that you have to worry about overheating, non-existent. Now I'm going to sound like a moan. Don't like heat, don't like cold. Prefer cold, but when it's cold, your diaphragm can kind of spasm a bit on you, and then breathing becomes difficult. But drinks is the biggest problem when it's cold. So hands get cold to pick drinks bottles up, but then also when you're trying to squeeze the bottle and get your fluids in, it's not easy. Combine that with the tight diaphragm, and you're doing this kind of and it's a disaster. So drinks was a real problem, which is probably why if you saw the finish line video and I'm literally crawling, it's because my legs were just empty of glycogen. I didn't feel great in the days leading in. I had a bit of a stomach problem. Resting heart rate was up 5 or 6 beats. After altitude, it was right down at 40. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was more like 45, 46. I had this weird stomach thing going on, bloated. I love marathons because you're just given a day. It's like a deadline, and it's like, show up on this day and show us what you've got. No excuses, no drama, no nonsense. Just get to the finish line as quick as you can. Deal with whatever it is you have to, get done. I think what I learned is when you've prepared really well and you've trained hard and you've put in the hard yards, you've put in the hard work, you reap what you sow. So even if you have a few little excuses, maybe the course isn't, the fastest course in the world, maybe the weather isn't the perfectest weather for running marathons, maybe you do have a little bit of a stomach problem, maybe you miss a few drinks bottles, but if you put in the hard work, you get it done. When you haven't put in the hard work, sometimes it only takes one little excuse. And when I say excuse, I just mean in your post-race analysis, something that didn't quite go your way. It's not made up, it can be fact. But if you've put in all this really hard work, you still tend to get a big result, a good result, even if there is little things don't quite go well. So energy levels didn't feel great, didn't feel like I was popping off the ground like I normally do, but that's okay. And so I was able to get to maybe from mile 8 to mile 13 feeling really good, and that was exciting because it was yes, but I probably then went a little bit too quick. And so then I sort of had to pay the price of that. And from 13 to 18, I didn't feel as good. But I kept reminding myself to come back to this present moment. Be right here, right now, right? Just focus on the now. And that was beautiful. And then I guess I got to 17, 18. And I didn't feel worse is what you could say. But I didn't feel great. But I learned that mental suffering, or when you talk about, God, that was a really hard day, a really big, tough day, you're mainly thinking about the psychology. You're very rarely talking about the legs, or you feel them a little bit tired or a little bit sore, but you're talking about psychology. So I learned to just, anytime that happened and there was a bit of chaos in the head, or what if this happens, or oh, what if we slow, or this is so hard, maybe you should slow down, any of these thoughts, I just calmed it down. I just relaxed the arms, let the shoulders, these muscles here, just relax. Got back to my breathing, and all of a sudden it went away. I don't know how I did that, but I just thought, just another Sunday, And around about mile 19, mile 20, somebody actually shouted, just another Sunday. And that's how I had framed this whole thing. Take away pressure, take away stress, take away expectation. It's just you versus this 26.2 mile run course, whatever you want to call it. And so that probably got me through the toughest miles, where there was some really tough hills. There's a really, really tough hill just after mile 22. That was hard, really, really hard. But I learned to just manage it mile by mile. And then I guess there's a lovely period of running from 23 to 25. So if you've got that far, you can coast down those sort of hills a bit. And that's when I had to make a decision of now I'm in a race, right? So after mile 25, these guys that had sat me for so long, I was that's the podium. You that was big. So I was you're now racing these guys to be on the podium at Dublin Marathon. It wasn't a thought process about money. There wasn't a thought process about finishing time. It was, when I talked about winning this race, I didn't realize there was 9 people or something on the start line with a quicker personal best than you, 207, 206. So I was if you could podium now, that is huge. So I kind of push, and then my legs were oh no. You ever watch when you see GIFs of Ironman finishers and they're literally having to crawl to the finish line? I literally thought that might happen to me. I'm not joking when I say that. But I was breathe, so I'm going, and I'm sprinting as quick as I can. Well, I felt as quick as I can, and I managed to get third. And I fall, I collapse to the floor, and I'm so tired. My legs are so tired. And then, I guess I'm on the podium, and after races, you see people doing a little, victory lap thing, and I was you should go do that. And then I regretted doing that because my legs were so tired. But it was just a really special day. I don't think I need to talk about the journey here, because you've probably watched it. Talk about after Great North Run, the sadness, it was a messy 10 to 12 weeks. I was starting to write a book on, less book, more the training log and how I felt that day or what I should have done or what was good or bad. And I was looking at the last 10 weeks and I was like, this is a mess. So what was special about Dublin was turning a mess, sheds, saunas, ice baths, blah, 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 training at all sorts of hours, lack of professionalism. You know, I have this beautiful running school that talks about how to spend the 22 hours a day outside of training. And it's like, yeah, watch it yourself. Messy. But what was special was that I accepted that it had been a bit of a mess, and I took myself up that mountain and I worked really hard in Font with Bashir, you know, Andrew Butchard, top 10 at the Olympics 3 times, Bashir, European marathon record holder. It's like I just went, go, you know, work really hard. And I think if you do that, you've got a chance. And it's like, yeah, I was able to patch it together in a way that got me a good result. My best result in a long time. Arguably one of my best results ever, if not my best result ever. And that has nothing to do with all things considered. That's a big day. Hilly course, very good opposition, terrible weather, and you go out there and you produce the goods. You get a big result out of yourself. I want to thank everybody that follows me, everyone that's part of the running school that's been up a year, everyone that just supports, sent lovely messages. I have people messaging me saying they're out there racing and they're trying to figure out how I did. What did I do to deserve that? I don't know, but thank you. I want to thank my, coaches that I communicate with, and also Gary, who helped a lot up in Font in his own way. I knew that I needed to go and work really hard like I did in 2020. And Gary Locke has this way of just pushing me. It pushes my buttons a lot too, but it brings the best out of me. It really makes me work hard. So Butchie really helped, Bashir really helped, Gary really helped. My family who have supported me just forever, in such a really nice and special way. I'm not easy at all. I'm really difficult. You guys are going to find me difficult when I pull out of Berlin and Antrim, and I find life difficult. And so anyone that's in my little circle knows I'm a difficult little customer. But they've been so good, and that was special. I'm sure they were chuffed. And so I couldn't be here without all this support. And so that's really important. So thank you so much. And what happens next? I'm looking good for the Olympics. Not there yet. The job's not done yet, but that was a brilliant step. You're looking at that being like if qualifying for the Olympics was 100%, that was probably like 60, maybe even 70. And now, you need to just go and put in another really solid result and the job's done. But that's a big step, especially when you haven't been performing. So I'll talk about what's next on the next video. But thanks so much for following. If you want to check out the running school, you should. Very, very good for nutrition, recovery, strength conditioning, training plans. Follow it. You'll run really well. Running is really tough, but it's really good for us. I think it makes you feel really proud of yourself, really happy within yourself. And there's just something quite special about it. So go easy on yourself. If it hasn't been going the way you wanted, figure out what you can do to start getting it going in a better direction. And well done. Thank you so much. Take care.